What's up, guys? How are we today? My name is Scott the Life Artist, if you will, and today, man, I wanted to make this video about health and kind of share my experience I had with health and how it's important to care about your health and be healthy. And that I had this freaking, I call it addiction, but I had this thing with nicotine for about 4 to 5 years where I would basically compulsively do it every day. These little nicotine pouches, you might have seen it, Nordic Spirit or Zin or whatever, Velo, and it was just crushing me after a while because I couldn't stop. And you know, now and again at a party or something, it can be enjoyable. Once a week, have a couple, have a good conversation, or inspired to write, get some ideas. Nicotine can be useful for that, but it can also be a crux or a crutch, just like anything else. And for me, this was going on for freaking years, man. And I was like, fuck. And I wasn't happy doing it anymore. I was like, fuck, this is making me sad. This is making me really sad. And if you ever had that in your life, like a habit where you're just like, fuck, man, maybe this was fun once, but now it's just become sad. And that's how it was for me. And it was affecting my health, man. I was affecting my health. Like, I know nicotine, you know, it's different from smoking cigarettes or vaping. Nothing's really going into your lungs. It's quite clean, right? It's like nicotine gum or whatever. It's not that bad, but like, fuck, it was still leaning towards me feeling a bit like out of breath and just a bit like minging. I was just feeling a bit minging. And I tell you, man, I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of not being in control and taking charge and feeling that I feel like a rock solid in my health. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a health nut in that way, or maybe I am, but a health nut in the way of like cut this out, cut that. No, because something I recognized along the way is you need to incorporate pleasure into your health or into your health plan. You do. Because if you just go, no, this is bad, but you want to do it because it gives you a sensation, gives you an experience, and you cut it out, that will lead you feeling brittle, you know? That's been my experience. You're feeling kind of sad, feeling kind of hard to get on with, right? Too straight and narrow, leading to a damn freaking heart attack because you're so bored, right? So you need to accommodate that and realize that, like, I had this realization many years ago, but it's kind of become much more logical and makes sense. But the soul needs nourishment too. Physical, yes, but your soul and your mind need nourishment as well. So if you're attracted to things that are unhealthy physically, realize that they may be healthy spiritually, and there's a payout for that, or a trade-off, or a balancing. And I think that's what makes for mastery, at least for me. If you can dip in and out of things without getting, let's say, quote unquote, addicted, or you become too compulsive towards them, but you can still, you know, lick around, enjoy frickin' what's going on, what lights you up, but you can have just enough and then get away. Focus on what you really need to do. That is prime mastery right there, right? But it requires honesty. And it requires honesty with, this isn't working, but I still want to do this, right? Like for me right now, I know I'm cutting out nicotine, but can I imagine at a party or something having one or two? Yeah. And then that's my challenge, to balance that. And if it doesn't work out, that's absolutely fine, right? If I get addicted again, that's real unfortunate, but I have to deal with it, right? But that's my challenge, that's my mastery. And yeah, man, but I found saying no and being honest, being like, this sucks, right? My foundation, there's like a leak. It felt like a leak doing it every day. Popping 3, 4, 5 of these pouches a day, it felt like a leak in my system. And it affected other things, man. I started to do that, and then I'd feel kind of low and sad, and then I would just watch fucking YouTube shorts all day, Instagram reels, that make me sadder. I'd go to the nicotine, I'd go to porn, and there's nothing wrong with these things, right? But my relationship was icky. You know, I'd feel out of breath and be like, I want to play sports, but I always felt I was like in contention with myself. I was like, something doesn't feel balanced, something feels fucking weird. And, you know, when I dropped it, it was like, you do get a temporary echo, if you will, of your old habits. Like, fuck, how do I live without this thing? But then it fades. So know that it fades, and also just know, like, you can let go of these things, right? And often it's surprising, I think, when it comes to health or a physical habit. I don't know where I heard it. I think Ed Milet, CEO, speaker, is really, seems like a cool guy. He basically said, like, one habit can change your life. And I'm sure that saying has been around, like, for many, many years, but letting go of a habit. And I swear it's true, man. Like, it's fucking, because I had the same thing with alcohol. Like, I don't really drink. Maybe I have like 1 or 2 now and again, very rarely, but it's just not really my ticket. It just doesn't. I'd rather have a little bit of weed or something. Like, have a couple of puffs and then off to the park. Go frickin' feed some squirrels. But I remember when I used to drink as a teenager, like, compulsively. Oh, I've got a frickin' cramp in my foot, man. Oh, Lord. Oh, I'm being tested today. Oh, but I remember when I where was I? When I was a teenager, I used to compulsively drink, and, you know, at the weekend, it was like, I had to do it. Like, I had to do it. If there was a party, or there was going to be girls, or social gathering around new people, even with, like, my friends' parents or something, I would have to drink. And I'm about to drink right now, but it's coconut water. But I would have to do it. And I remember I was like, man, I don't like doing this all the time. I don't like trashing my energy and feeling like hungover and sick, and it would lead me to smoking cigarettes and doing other weird shit, being a bit of a menace. And I was like, man, but I kept doing it. And it wasn't until I got to, like, I think 19, 20, I had a bit of a spiritual awareness where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try my best not to drink this weekend. And it was like little gaps. It was little gaps of awareness, of discipline, being like, I don't really want to do that. But it led to me being more open to other things. But it also definitely led me to feeling more, like, healthy. I kind of prioritized my health, and I felt more rock solid within. And that was a great feeling, right? And my freaking friends would be like, Scott, how do you do this? And, you know, my ego would feel boosted. But I think the main thing from it was just, I felt good choosing me and prioritizing my health to the extent that made me feel stable, right? But then here's the catch. I went too far when I was in my 20s, to the point where I became stick up my ass brittle guy. I didn't drink, I wouldn't eat meat. I was like vegan. And, you know, these things are fine, but I became brittle because I wasn't honoring these feelings, these basic feelings of base pleasure feelings of like, I want to do this, I want to try this sometimes, I want to experiment with this, right? And it takes guts to do that. It takes honesty. And, you know, it's finding the balance, right? I think the balance or perfection of health And again, this isn't a written rule. Don't think I know it all, because I don't. But like, it's finding the balance between feeling rock solid, sure of yourself, and being open to pleasure in a way where it mixes, where you really feel elated and in control. I think that's like a power statement. That's like, yeah, you know, I am alive. And, you know, I went too far. Like I said, I went too far in my 20s and became brittle and, you know, scared. I became scared and sterile of pleasure. It became scary to me. And it wasn't until later when I realized that, you know, my emotional health was in dire straits and I couldn't cooperate with people in my environment. I couldn't let go and have a drink now and again, or I don't know, smoke a vape or whatever lit me up at the time, because it was wrong, right? But that led to health issues internally, psychologically, right? And I think the sweet spot is finding a way to integrate your mental, spiritual, and physical health into one thing. That's mastery. But anyway, yeah, man, I suppose I just wanted to share my success story, really, of just getting honest with this freaking nicotine thing, and that anyone can let go of a substance. Just it requires an honesty. But I think when you suffer enough as well of doing something again and again and again, it's just not doing anything for you. You feel sad doing it. That eventually creates I've had enough, and that's what I had. And I'm excited to see what comes of this, because what came when I let go of alcohol when I was a teenager was wicked good fun, a lot of insight. And by the way, I didn't stop drinking, but it became a lot more intermittent fasting, fuck it, you know what I mean. It became more lengthy, the time between. So I would have a drink maybe every month, every 6 weeks. And remember, I was a student. I was in Brighton at the time, and I had friends who were drinking every day. So I was seen as like a Jackie Chan. How do you do this, Scott, right? But I got so much insight and so much joy from stretching myself and having quote unquote discipline and being open to other things that existed outside alcohol, that it was well worth it. It led to a lot of liberation. But again, unless something really, really feels toxic to you, it's usually not a healthy idea to cut it out entirely if it still brings you joy, right? Because it brings you joy. But again, I don't know everything, but having that discipline between pleasure and health is a mastery thing. Anyway, I'm babbling, but I trust this helps in some way. And yeah, man, any stories you have on health, what you found, obsessions you've let go of, compulsions, and what you found through letting them go, what else has come into your life, let me know. Okay, I love you guys. Scott calling out.